We're doing Walmart together, aren't we? Can you tell he was wanting a break? Seriously though, this is the Alicia and Michael show, back for another segment. This time we're talking about the strike at Walmart. Apparently, workers are not at all satisfied with the working conditions at Walmart and with the pay, and there's rumors that the conditions that they work under are unsafe and can potentially cause them to sustain a lot of injuries, and they went on a strike today because a lot of people would be coming to shop and they went on strike. So and apparently there's some people in the churches, mainly the more liberal ones, not that that means much in this context, I'm just making an observation, that participated in the strike and supported them on this. What are you doing?
I'm trying to see the wheel over again.
Okay. So, what do you think, Michael? Should they have had this strike?
Not really.
Why?
Most of it was people trying to unionize Walmart.
So, with the rumors about the conditions being unsafe and back-breaking conditions and all that, if you don't think a strike was a good way to go, what do you think would have been a better way to go?
In a way, I think it's fake, because I think the union's trying to use this to become a union.
In other words, you think they might be sensationalizing stuff.
Because the union hates Walmart.
I see. So you think the workers might be, you think some of the workers might not like their jobs, so they're over-exaggerating
and they're trying to
the working conditions.
Because they want the union. They want the union.
So they can get paid more and maybe have conditions where they don't have to do as much work.
Yes.
But really they're only doing the jobs because they have to have a job, but
yes.
they would rather not work.
Yes.
I wouldn't be at all surprised if some of them weren't teenagers, that 18-year-olds that their parents told them to, if you don't go to college, you have to get a job, or you have a few months to get a job, or you get out of our house.
Also, my mom thinks there's people who think that they're transplants. They can either sit down here. They can sit down here.
Yeah. And you know, my mother, she her dad, my grandpa,
yeah.
who passed back in 2011,
yeah.
he and my Oma, they used to be managers for the La Quinta Inn, and my mom and dad, they, as you know, they own an accounting firm, but before they did that, they worked a lot of other different jobs. I mean, my dad, when he first started out, he worked in a garbage collecting company, and my mom worked in a pharmacy. They worked several different jobs before they got to where they are now. And I want to say this so people don't think they're sheltered little misters and misses, because they're anything but. They've worked hard to get where they've gotten. My parents worked full-time through college and went to college full-time, for heaven's sake.
I'm not in a shelter. I live in a rent house.
So, I know, but I want them to understand that my parents and my grandparents are not sheltered just because they've been managers and own their own business. They've worked hard and they've been in all kinds of jobs. And my dad has been working since he was 10 years old. He started out as a paper boy, okay? Now, I say all this as a preface to what my mom says all the time. If you do not like where you work, then start looking for another job. That's what you need. That's what my mother would say. and my grandparents and my parents do not like unions for that reason. And the other thing about unions, I feel that they take away from, well, from productiveness. I mean, I'm sure I know there was once a time when unions were necessary because there really were bad working conditions. But, you know, there's laws these days and they mostly accomplish what they need, so they wanted. So I really don't think the unions are necessary these days. I think it's just a case of workers being dissatisfied with what their pay is and not really wanting to work.
Yeah.
That being said, though, normally I don't read scripture on the Alicia and Michael show, but this scripture perfectly relates to what it is we are talking about, because it talks about employer-employee relations. What?
Okay. We'll take time.
Okay.
It's 6 minutes.
Okay. Almost there. It's in Ephesians chapter 6. Now keep in mind, it actually says bondservants, but these days, in today's world, we would call it the equivalent of employer-employee relationships instead of bondservants and masters. Bondservants or employees, be obedient to those who are your masters or your employers, according to the flesh, with fear and trembling, in sincerity of heart, as to Christ, not with eye service as men pleasers, but as bondservants of Christ, doing the will of God from the heart, with good will doing service as to the Lord, and not to men, knowing that whatever good anyone does, he will receive the same from the Lord, whether he is a slave or free. And you, masters, employers, do the same things to them, giving up threatening, knowing that your own master also is in heaven, and there is no partiality with him. And there is a verse in Colossians that talks about whatever you do, do it heartily and with all your heart. That being said, I bring that up because I want to say, if it is true that the employers are not being mindful of the workers' conditions, then all I have to say to the employers is shame on you. Do better. You need to improve your conditions for those workers, or God will hold you accountable. But if it is over sensationalized and whatnot, I also have this to say to the employees. Do your job. You should do what you do with all your heart and stop complaining about your work, because there's many people that don't have jobs and that would trade with you at any moment. So stop complaining and do your job and do it well, and not just when your boss is looking, but when he's not looking. You do your best and do it with all your heart. And if you don't feel like you're being appreciated, if you don't like your job, then start looking for another job, but be smart about it. Stay working there until you have another job in place, then quit and go to that other place. But let me tell you, if you're just doing this because you don't like working, if deep down in your heart of hearts you don't like working, but you try to go from workplace to workplace thinking they'll cater to your little ego, the real world doesn't work that way, honey. So you might as well get that through your thick head now and start working hard. Anyways, that's all I have to say about the strike. You have anything more you want to say, Michael? All right. Well, that's it. Bye-bye later. God bless.